Hello everybody, my name is Matthew White, coming to you from Ingram Micro's Business Transformation Center, and today is another edition of Cisco Unboxed. Today we're going to be unboxing the Webex Desk Mini, so let's get started. So this is the box it comes in. Nice little square one, a little bit wider than I'm used to, but the cool thing here is you just kind of flip it on its side and then just open it up from there. So right off the bat we see a Webex Desk Mini, work, play, and collaborate. Nice little branding on there. Off to the side here. A little bit of plastic wrap, keeping it all secure. You can see here, this is the main unit. The screen is already attached. We have the handle for which to carry it by, the main speaker system, and everything all in one there. And then we have the safety information. A nice little cleaning cloth for after we're done putting it together. We have a USB-C to USB-C cable, a NEMA 515 cable for the US. Obviously, if you're purchasing this for other countries, you'd be getting a different power cable. And this looks like everything that should be in the box. I always pull everything out just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And that looks like that's about it. So let me set this to the side here. A lot of packaging in this guy to keep it safe and secure. Okay. Now this gives you a little bit of information about how you connect it onto the device. A little QR code to get you to information about it as well. And then where to find the connections if you want to actually open it up. We can go ahead and remove that, but before we do, I'm actually going to turn this on its side with the screen up so I don't damage the screen. On the bottom here is where your actually power cable is going to go. So let me go ahead and plug in there. And as you can see here, this NEMA cable does not have a notch out of it or anything like that. So it's going to be easy to get a different one if you did want something a little bit longer. And just push that in. Feed the power cable down through the actual output here on the back so that it feeds through the notch out here so the cable doesn't get in the way when you turn it back up right side up. Go ahead and flip that back up here for us. Now this connection back here is if you wanted to get your USB-C that's actually visible. We can also pull that off and you can hardwire connect it into Ethernet and your standard USB-C, and then there's also a maintenance port there as well. Let me go ahead and plug this guy in for you. Yeah. We can remove this little cover here. So on the side here, we've got the mute button, the volume down and volume up as well. Now you will notice that this one did not have any type of pen with it or anything like that. You can use a pen with it. You would just have to buy that separately. Underneath the top layer here, we also have another layer here of plastic, so we can go ahead and remove that. Okay. And then on the top here, we do have a shutter button, so we can open and close that as well. And on the back of the unit, this corner here, is your power button. So you're going to press that in, and you're going to see a little light up on the bottom there to tell you that it is actually getting power. And just wait for it to boot up. And there we go. So we do get the welcome screen. So the first thing that we're going to want to do here is to actually go in and create a 16-digit code to register this device. So let's go ahead and do that inside a Control Hub. So if we go down to Workspaces, we're going to add a new workspace. Tell it what type of room this is going to be used for, how many people are usually going to be sitting in front of it, where it's going to be located. Let's just go with Ingram Micro. What floor is it going to be on? I've created multiple different floors here, so we're just going to say floor 1, and we're going to hit next here. Once we're past that point, it's going to ask us what type of device this is. We're going to want to make sure that we pick the Webex Rooms device. Click next. And then what do we want to do with it? So one-on-one call is going to be just internally used to call other people inside your org. If you're using the Cisco Webex calling, you can also do that to actually get additional PSTN capabilities. And then we're going to pick what type of calendaring we want to use for this. Let's say we're going to use hot desking with this particular one. Click next. And then we get our activation code. And that's the one we're going to actually plug into the unit here. Now keep in mind that activation codes do expire after a week, so you don't get these too far ahead of time, but we're going to go ahead and plug this activation code in. Let's go ahead and click the Start button. And then we're going to pick the type of connection we want for our network. So let's go ahead and pick Wi-Fi. Once it's done with that, you can see that it now has this connected green dot at the top with no information down below. If for some reason you're not getting a connection, you want to make sure that the firewall is open, you're not running into other problems along those lines. We're going to hit the next arrow over here, and we're going to pick how we want to connect. So in this case, we're going to pick Cisco Webex because we're connecting to the Webex cloud. And let's go ahead and punch in that 16-digit code. Also, if you weren't using this as a hot desking, you could also register this to you as a personal device, and you can do that through the settings.webex.com and actually log in with your personal credentials and then generate your own 16-digit code from there. You can see the date and time is automatically applied based off of my rules when it comes to the organization, and I can change that time zone if I wanted to. We are on the correct time zone though, so I'm going to continue to move forward. And the setup is done. So as you can see, that is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. If you are attaching it to a personal device instead of to a conference room or a shared device, it makes it a lot easier. You don't even have to go into Control Hub to create that 16-digit code. You can do it right from your own area. Once you're done there, you're just going to hit the little blue checkbox, and it's going to jump right into the software itself. Now, as you can see here, I have my call, my whiteboarding, my files, join Webex tips and PC input. So if I did want to use that USB-C connection, I could. If I swipe over from like the left or the right, I could get to additional information if I had it on here. So additional links, things like that that you might configure this device to have. I could also swipe up from the bottom. Now this is something new with the new version of the operating system, but you can actually have multiple different screens here that you actually tie into. You can create different web apps that you might have in here. So whether it be Office 365 or other login credential sites that you need to pull information from to do your presentations or things like that, you can do that from here as well. But let's just go back to the home screen. And then up here on the left-hand side, if you tap that top there, you're going to get your wirelessly share capability. So how do you want to wirelessly share to the device? Using the Webex app or through the website. And then also, I can click on the right-hand side here, this little pin. There we go. And you can see the camera information. You can put it into standby, do not disturb, change your microphone settings, so you can go into that and actually turn on the noise removal or optimize for my own voice. I would highly suggest turning noise removal on the device. And then you have the ability to adjust your brightness, your speakers, and your device settings themselves. So again, some of this may be locked down by your organization, but if it's not, you can get into a lot of the settings right from here. You can also manage your web apps and your whiteboard appearance and everything directly from here. So let's just switch that to a black canvas. So if I go ahead and whiteboard, I can just whiteboard with my finger. I can draw shapes, and it will autocorrect. There we go. I can pick different colors as well and have it autocorrect those. I can do a lot of different things here to actually control this device and have my meetings and everything else directly on here. It does have the same pinch zoom capabilities to your whiteboard, so if you run out of space, you can easily move over and get around to the other areas. And then don't forget, you do have your camera up on top, so you'd want to open that up if you're going to be having a meeting with it, so you don't have your privacy shield closed. And again, this device has great speakers built into it as well. So if you're looking to have some great music playing when you're not on a call, you can do that. And don't forget that you have that USB connection, that if you want to plug a computer into it and actually use it as a touchscreen and have that secondary monitor be this device, you can easily do that. Now, if you do decide to grab a pen and buy those separately, as you can see here, this is the same type of pens that come with the Webex Desk Pro, but I can actually use those to draw as well, which makes it a little bit easier to write and to draw when I have this type of thing. Now, sorry for my drawing. I'm not the best I don't have the best capability when it comes to drawing, but let me go ahead and wipe all that out. I can also save this if I wanted to. Let's just delete that whiteboard. We can always go back in here again, and let's say we're trying a little bit harder here this time. Give this guy a little smiley face, but as you can see, drawing is a little bit easier when you're using the pen. So if you want to grab pens as an accessory, feel free to do so. Yeah. But here we can go also use this for touching on different points. One thing I did notice with this device is the buttons and things like that on it are a little smaller, which might come into a little bit of a problem if you have big fingers. So in those cases, I would highly suggest the pen and purchasing that separately, so that way you can more easily tap these small buttons. So we can go ahead and delete that. But when you notice in here in the whiteboard as well, you can see that you do have the save function, so you can save that directly to your PC as well, or to the meeting. And then you do also have the ability to create a secondary one. I can change between my dark and my light capability. I can also move the bars around if I wanted to. So you do have the ability to readjust the space if you need to by just grabbing on to those 6 little black dots in the corner of the bar. So let me go and delete that again. And then if you do want to join a Webex, you can do that just by clicking the Join Webex button, punching in your Webex meeting ID. Also, you can join the Webex by linking to this device from your computer as well using the Webex app. So you don't have to go typing in the entire ID. You can also use this as a room system and actually invite this to it when you're setting it up the way I just did. Or if you're using this as a hot desk, you'd log into the device, assign it to yourself, and that way you can take meetings from it. The system is going to upgrade when it's showing not in use. One of the great things about the Webex Cloud is it does put you on the latest firmware whenever it's possible. And it's going to say you can postpone it or you can upgrade now. So if you want to get right ahead and start using it, you could use it right away. Or you can go ahead and hit upgrade now, or it'll upgrade when the timer hits 0. So that's just getting you on the most latest and greatest version of that firmware. So thanks again for joining us for another edition of Cisco Unboxed today with the Webex Desk Mini. Feel free to check it out on the Cisco website. I'll include a link to it below. And make sure that you're checking out some of the other great colors that are available for this as well. So you don't need to go with the standard gray. You can always look at other colors as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you on another Cisco Unboxed.